The problem with the game of telephone on the internet, and yes, the title of the video indicates that a piece of information that is commonly understood to be true is literally just false. May 29th, 2011, Boone County, Florence, Kentucky. Bill Stephenson had ran a trucker's chapel at the Travel America truck stop and another location as well. He and his wife Peggy were both 74 years old and found in their Oakbrook condo dead, beaten, stabbed. Something had been moved and or staged in each room. No details are released, and this is an assertion by primarily one human being. And no details are released means there's nothing to connect it with literally anything else. But there's similarities. If no information has been released by the actual source, everything's based on hearsay, leaks, and people doing podcasts. I'm sorry if you're upset. Anybody out there who might be. This is brought to my attention because it's claimed that this has connections to something that happened in Delphi. Only, so far that I could find, is Boone County Sheriff's Detective Coy Cox making claims, assertions, and statements. And then when you hear his qualification of what he's saying, they fall apart. The murderer may have left a message, as the assertion people make. But it's known only to whoever left the message. And then later on, this individual qualifies it by saying, we saw that the killer was leaving signs or things that you're supposed to interpret. That's someone seeing patterns where there may not be any. So here we go. There's one thing I might add. 2011, Florence, Kentucky, a pastor or deacon and his wife were violently murdered inside of their condo. While only few details have been released, actually no details have been released, period, full stop. No, they haven't, unless they're posted on a official government-controlled website, because this is literally, all the data is held by the police department, only on a website in clear text where you and I can grab it, or a PDF we can download, that's exclusively from that, not something we find on Scribd. There were some very specific commonalities shared between this case and the Delphi murder scene. No, because none of the data at all has been released, period, full stop. It's not anything other than that. That's the thing, is when I look it up, from the time it happened in the past, all the way to the last time, which was 2020, when it was brought up with Mr. Cox talking, no date has been released explaining exactly what he meant by any of these. And again, when you look up what he says by a message was left, no, there wasn't a message left. Leaving signs or things you're supposed to interpret at a scene of a crime isn't a message in the traditional sense of someone writing down a confession or an explanation or a manifesto. People are interpreting it as being a statement like that. Now, this is one of the reasons I literally am known for ranting about people teasing stuff like they're trying to sell something and then going out of their way to let people make misinterpretations of it and let it ride the meme train and it going nowhere. And this includes Delphi. That's one of the reasons a huge number of people are angry about the guy who got arrested, because where are your specifics? Why was there a bullet when a bullet wasn't used, or excuse me, a cartridge, an unspent cartridge, involved in the scene? Tips had led detectives from Florence to interview at least a few people in Delphi area. Later on, that investigator, Cox, felt so compelled that it was a clear link between the crimes, he volunteered information to Delphi authorities. Or he's going on another podcast. All this person, again, the name of the person, this is the source of it. Coy Cox, stop being coy. Tell everybody what you meant by the word message. And be specific, and don't say, well, I can't tell anybody. Ooh-woo. Stop it. This is something that we saw, everybody saw, when no raw copy of the Delphi Bridge Guy video was put out. It's a video recording. The raw file of the audio. 2 or 3 knuckleheads off of Reddit could have tore it apart by now. The case is over with. The guy's convicted. He's going to prison. Where's the data? This is when you find out years later that there's something wrong. This is the reason people are assuming that the guy who's been convicted should be released, because there's no end to the, well, we have to restrict this information. No, there isn't. It's like a body cam recording. Release it immediately after an occurrence happens and shut up. No, I don't care that you got any excuse at all. Because the primary reason we see body cams being restricted is it makes the cops look like criminals. They'll keep wanting to, some cases in the United States where people will never see the body cam recording because it proves that the police committed a crime. That's why cops that commit crimes will screw up a case. This is how the real world works. A claim. There are some very specific commonalities shared between both cases. The list is, now remember in the Delphi case, no specifics have been released at all. There aren't any sources, and anybody claiming they have an inside track to the information always turns out to be a fucking liar. Every fucking one of them? Yes, literally every fucking one of them. Including one claim that someone related to the family made a release. But they didn't. How dare you question this kind old lady but that person said they never released anything. And this has happened in every case I've ever looked up. When the game of telephone happens on the internet. Now, I'm sure that someone will correct me if I make them angry enough, and they'll go dig up where they got the source from, and it'll be from a law firm associated with the case. In the case of Delphi, we have a couple of clown car politicizing idiots involved, more than a couple, on both sides of the argument, who probably leaked something. Show the leak. Show when they blustered and actually spat something out. In the case of this occurrence in Florence, Kentucky, all you have to do is release something, preferably not from Coy Cox, but somebody else, that is definitively traceable to them, not a leak that can't be traced, not an anonymous posting, that actually has details. And yes, the message the bad guy left was signs or things that you're supposed to interpret. That's not a message. A message is a communication that's supposed to at least give you some data. Apologists will immediately scream something in the comment section. To the person who left the comment, thank you for asking me about this. No, I'm not criticizing you. But I'm doing a video about how every time I look this up, every time on the internet when we look it up, we find out the following truisms. I'm going to call them trutherisms or truthinesses. When someone claims the police released unambiguous data, that's wishful thinking. The cops only release vague statements. They never release any details unless it's in a press conference that's on a video that you made sure that you archived 10 times over so they can't retract it. Including them putting up one image and then another that don't look the same and deciding that we needed to only look at one of them. When in fact the original image looked a lot more like what we saw in the Bridge Guy video. Lots of ass covering going on. This is the axiom. If you claim the police gave an unambiguous statement that sounds really juicy for some podcast, I guarantee you it fucking didn't happen. Not because people lie on podcasts, but because the police department is notorious, every police department is notorious, for not giving out information, even if it's destructive to them solving a case. They don't care. They're absolutely closed-lipped about everything. And as for this Boone County Sheriff Detective Coy Cox claim, a message was left behind, but it's only known to the killer, so you couldn't read it, which means leaving signs or things that you're supposed to interpret, meaning there wasn't any message. It's your spidey sense. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm going to head everybody off. Detectives do not have clairvoyant capabilities, nor do they get a sense of a case and have the ability to dig things out. They can get a sense of what's likely driving things. Unless they release literal crime scene photos and a description, a very specific description of each room in that building, saying exactly what happens, the statement that there were specific commonalities shared between both cases is not an accurate statement. Unless you show this. That is not a podcast. That's not somebody running anything that gets upvotes and views where they say, hey, subscribe to my channel. Anything like that immediately invalidates the person, including me. I have no merit here. Because we're not there and we're not working on it. The only people who have the information about it are going to be the police department. And I dare anybody out there to say that the Delphi Police Department or whatever has publicly released all the data about exactly what the crime scene was like for those two victims in Delphi. I guarantee you're not going to get it. Is there a diagram? Is everything out already? Because I would have been told, hey, this information was released by now. I'm not important. Everybody would have been told this. Oh, well, here's the information. People can peruse it. No, I don't believe it until I see it. Because that would be the requirement. It has to physically be there. We've all been led down rabbit holes like the shooting in Las Vegas with supposed monkeys wearing slickers in trees. Okay, wearing raincoats. And somebody claiming everything's a helicopter or a machine gun because he heard some noise caused by a GoPro that had a defective Wi-Fi hookup. Okay, and people will fixate on things. No, Koikok's saying anything about the word message, if you look up what its origin story is, and the link below is the 46condokillings.pdf 2022 June, I think that is. And it's on unsolved.com. It's a transcript of what the guy actually said. Maybe it's misinterpreted. Maybe someone can find some more wiggle room. Maybe we can keep the meme going. But any connection between any two cases has to show that both cases released information transparently. Both these cases have been opaque as hell. And probably will be forever. And apparently it doesn't matter even if you, quote, got your man and put him in prison still. Information will not be disclosed, and then some vague hand wave will be given out instead of they don't want to have to deal with the fact that the actual rock-solid data they're presenting doesn't match things they said early in the case or whatever, and they don't want to be bothered with it. Okay, well, that's it. I'm done with my little rant, but thanks for bringing this to my attention, and if anybody has more data, here is the requirement. Yes, at the 12-minute mark, I'm going to do this. How to do a citation in a comment. You give the keywords that make it to where if I cut and paste your keyword set into Google, the first hit will match what you say it's supposed to go to, some website named such and such.com, and you spell out the word DOT so it doesn't get flagged as spam. And it will actually have a direct link to an inarguable, not even partially contested, perfect copy of all the information that we're supposed to be discussing. I can do a citation that shows you the inside of part of the building on September 11th that shows pictures of boxes with electrical fuses in it. Not explosive fuses, electrical fuses. Yes, I did a video about that. There was a single picture available at one time showing it, right? That was the claim, right? And then, of course, when someone mentioned it, when we looked it up, it was electrical fuses, not explosive fuses. Every conspiracy theorist uses words that have more than one meaning and won't give the citation. Then when you dig it up, yeah, it was a picture that was taken several months before because they were doing electrical work on a floor because they're always doing electrical work in the Twin Towers because it's constantly in maintenance cycle. Yeah, I know. Yeah. You can't melt steel memes, right? That's right. That's good. Keep repeating it louder. I can hear it in my dreams and nightmares. The constant drone of, I won't drop it. Neither of these cases are examples of anybody being transparent enough for the public to have any information to work with, while they both, in some cases, yelled loudly, we need your help. We've offered you everything we can. We've done the zero we always do. Please give us some tips. And again, are the Delphi cops ever going to release the raw video and raw audio file? I really doubt that will ever happen. Just like you can't get a video of anything that happened on September 11th that doesn't have a CNN logo over it, and eventually gets interrupted by a commercial. There is no such thing. They literally will not give out raw data. Why? Because they don't have it. They didn't retain it, no matter how important the incident. Because the news isn't about news; it's about your logo and copywriting things. So if anybody has any raw data from either of these cases that correlate, they have to cite the sources. Again, down below, what the keyword is, we can look it up so we can all look it up, and where it's supposed to go to, spell out as best you can the website. Okay? If you can do that, no? Does it really exist? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll need